who can maybe provide a test, who can maybe be a challenger and a contender elsewhere around the Eastern Conference.
Top two is going to be a runaway, but I guess if I had to choose, Ben, it's going to be the Knicks. At least they have the talent to somehow upset teams that are better than them, but they can't in the regular season. Maybe it changes in the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwellenbach. Smith-Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread waters. I think that puts into a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
They have already decided, it would appear to me, from what you're telling me, that they're satisfied with the quarterback room as it stands now.
Shedeur Sanders does not have the value to go at number 3. I know they need a quarterback. It's about this season with Russell Wilson, okay? No question he's going to be the starter. Winston will back him up. But the future they can get next year.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pits, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bus, over to everybody else in between. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. We've got a ton of action going on, and we got more drama. The Miami Beach during spring break, as there's games going on all over the place, and it just has the feeling of one of those nights that there's going to be some strange endings. There already was. There was an epic ending to the Pacers and the Bucks series. Giannis and Halliburton's father got into it after the game, and the series was over. Meanwhile, there's panic in Toronto right now as the Ottawa Senators are sending this series back to the Canadian capital, and the Toronto Maple Leafs always have a hard time. The last win is always the hardest for the Buds. All right, we got the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks going on. 5 minutes left in this basketball game. We got a 2-point game. The Detroit Pistons up by 2 right now, facing elimination as well. The New York Knicks can win this series with the victory at the Garden this evening. The Clippers and the Nuggets are coming up. Big-time basketball game in this series. We're tied at 2 here. I bet on the LA Clippers to win this series against the Denver Nuggets. Yet I'm going to tell you right now, I think the Denver Nuggets are going to win this game. I don't know why the Clippers are repeatedly favored over the Nuggets in Denver. I think this series is going to go 7. Denver wins tonight. The Clippers win whenever they play the next game, which is, I assume, like 6 days or something like that. But all kidding aside, for me, it's the Denver Nuggets tonight, even though I am on the Clippers to win the series. Orlando Magic also facing elimination. They're giving the Celtics all they can handle. This Celtic team, all right, they figure they can flip the switch all the time. All right, we're just going to come in and, we'll turn it on. Okay, fine. You can get away with that playing against the Orlando Magic, but the Magic are giving you all you can handle. That won't be good enough as the playoffs go on, specifically against the Cleveland Cavalier team. But the Cavs are going to have business to take care of first. But we're at the half right now. The Orlando Magic, 49. The Boston Celtics, 47. Kind of feels like a spot to step in with the Celtics, doesn't it? Surprisingly enough, the Pacers didn't cover tonight. It's actually a miracle they won the basketball game this evening, but they didn't cover the point spread. So the Celtics were laying a big number this evening. What was it, 11 and a half? It's 5.5 right now at the half. They're down by 2. You would expect Boston to dial it up. You can't take them on the money line. They're minus 390 on the money line. So if you like to say, if you think the Celtics will come back, and I don't think the Celtics are going to lose this game, but I'd be surprised if they need a buzzer beater to do it. So I think the Boston Celtics minus 5.5 is worth the look. Cunningham just hit a 3. Pistons up a 5 spot in this game. We played a lot of advanced series. We played a lot of futures. All right. Not in the NBA so much. We played the Detroit Pistons plus 2.5 games in the series. So in other words, I need the Pistons to win this game and I win my bet. If they don't, I lose my bet. Like point blank. I need, forget about the point spread. I need the Detroit Pistons to win this game right now. We've got ourselves a winner with the Detroit Pistons plus 2.5 games in the series. The other series that I played the Clippers to beat the Denver Nuggets, but I think I might have been a little bit overly high. Maybe I just was. Yeah, I might have been high, but I might have been overly high on the LA Clippers before the playoffs started. I was, the Clippers this, the Clippers that. Clippers, whatever, man. The Clippers are good, but the Clippers are also a team that's just perpetually going to be in like 7-game series and buzzer beaters and weird things happening at the end of their games. It's not going to be a smooth ride with the Clippers. That's why I like the Denver Nuggets tonight. But we played every NHL series, exact score. So now it's starting to get real right now. Like we got money on the line with this tonight right now with the New Jersey Devils and the Carolina Hurricanes. And as I stated, it just feels like one of these nights tonight, right? The Knicks are now down 3 with under 4 to go. You almost feel like the Knicks are going to win by 1. Like Brunson's going to score in a layup or something like that. And Tracy Morgan will celebrate so much he's going to have to go to the hospital again. So we'll see if the Pistons are able to hang on here late, but I'd be surprised. The pressure starts to build, and, you get the home team, and, here come the Knicks right now already, trailing by 3 with the basketball. But let's give credit to the New Jersey Devils. Devils, listen, I thought, and right on cue, there's a 3-ball for the Knicks. Telling you, the Pistons are probably going to cover the spread, but they're going to screw me. They're not going to win the game outright. But Karl Anthony Towns just buried a 3. So the New Jersey Devils tied at 4 with the Carolina Hurricanes. Hurricanes were massive favorites tonight. All right, so give credit to the Devils for not going away right now in an elimination game. They're trying to send this thing back to Newark. We got a 1-1 game early already in Vegas right now. Remember last night I gave you the Ottawa Senators. I think the Senators are going to beat the Leafs tonight, plus 150 underdogs. They did. I also took the Minnesota Wild tonight. The Wild are plus 190. This series is just like a toss-up. They're very evenly matched. They're different style of teams. This has been it's pretty interesting, this series, actually, just from a style. Like Florida and Tampa are the same damn team. Right? You know what I mean? Tampa used to win the cup all the time. Now Florida's there all the time. But they play the same style. It's very, similar. The Canadians and the Capitals are kind of similar. Although the Caps are a little bit bigger. But the Wild and the Knights, they just play completely different styles. It's a cool contrast. And it makes for good hockey. 1-1. I think the Wild are very live here. Plus 155. All right, LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. You could argue that it's been the best series in the playoffs. You got the double LA tonight, dip. And in fact, you got the LA Dodgers playing this evening as well. So, you've got a bunch of LA teams. You got the Clippers in action, the Dodgers in action, the LA Kings in action. The LA Kings have been a great home team. We've seen the home team has won both games that they played in this series. Before the series started, I said, and my bet was that the Los Angeles Kings would win the series in 7 games. For this to happen, I believe the LA Kings absolutely positively need to win this hockey game tonight. Listen, if the Kings win this game tonight, there's no guarantee they're going to win the series because Edmonton are very hard to finish. We saw that, right? We're seeing it now. We saw it last year against the Florida Panthers. You might think that Edmonton are done, but anytime you underestimate them, that's when they strike. So, the Edmonton Oilers could lose this game, go back home, tie it up at 3, and then suddenly we have a toss-up Game 7. If you're the LA Kings and you lose tonight, you've got to go back to Edmonton, trailing 3-2, and the thing is, suddenly you got to beat Edmonton 2 times in a row. Like, this is an absolutely positively package, has to get to Pittsburgh overnight. Win for the LA Kings tonight. They need this game this evening. They've been great at home, and I don't know if it's just me. Like, my gut feel tonight is that I get the feeling that Pickard's going to be bad. Like, I think, you know what I mean? I think it's going to be like the goaltending's been okay for them. They pulled Skinner. They went to Pickard. Yet I sort of get the feeling it's going to be one of those, the Oilers are kind of exposed nights tonight. But I'll tell you what, like, you know, the Oilers, man, these guys have played a lot of big games. They don't get nervous. They don't get, they don't panic late in hockey games. Unlike the Toronto Maple Leafs, who, you know, panic at the disco. I thought your new theme song was Panama by Van Halen. I don't know. I didn't hear it tonight. I think you change your music to Panic at the Disco because you're panicking right now. Toronto Maple Leafs suddenly allowed the Ottawa Senators back in the series. We have a lot of stuff to break down right now. Let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. Bring it.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. I am Gabriel Morency. In the immortal words of Yogi Berra, it's deja vu all over again. We saw earlier this evening, just a couple hours ago, that the Milwaukee Bucks were up by 7 points with like a minute left in the basketball game, and it appeared as if though that they were surprisingly going to extend the series. Former Toronto Raptor Gary Trent Jr. couldn't miss in the fourth quarter, but Gary Trent, you know, he who giveth, he who taketh and Gary Trent buried a bunch of threes to put the Bucks up, but he also turned the ball over late. And I don't blame players for turning the ball over, but it was like he basically, like, he dropped a pass, like, wide open in the end zone type of deal. Like, all they really had to do was kill the clock. They sort of just threw him a soft pass. And the thing is, Trent was hitting so many shots, he was busy talking to the crowd a lot. He was like, go home, and you like that. And, like, he was taunting the Pacer fans after every shot. And he was really caught up in the moment. And then he dribbles the ball. He fumbles the ball out of bounds. And the Pacers, Halliburton ends up scoring. And Halliburton's father runs on the court and gets in Giannis's face. And he looked like a jockey next to, like, Giannis. And, like, it was like a big brouhaha after that game. But here we go again right now. The Detroit Pistons have the New York Knicks on the ropes right now in this game, trying to extend the series. They're on the road. They're a younger team. The Pacers don't have an excuse. The Pacers aren't really that young of a team. But the Pistons are. That's not fully true. The Pistons do have some vets on the floor. But, they're not a great team. Like, they're a new team. So, like, they're trying to win. They're not used to winning and finishing off games in the playoffs. It's not easy to do. So the Knicks aren't going away, man. Like, they just got up by 5 and 6 or whatever, Detroit. The Knicks just hit a 3. We got a 3-point game with 25 seconds left right now. Clippers and Nuggets coming up, a pivotal game. Like I said, you just get the feeling tonight it's going to be one of those weird, strange nights tonight with results. Look, Orlando's giving Boston all they can handle still right now. All right, so Detroit with the basketball. We'll keep our eye on this. NHL hockey. The Devils and Canes are going to overtime, tied at 4. The Vegas Golden Knights have just scored. They're now up 2-1 on the Minnesota Wild, and the Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings are getting ready to drop the puck at the crypt. Cam, Vegas just scores over Minnesota. Next goal is going to be big in this hockey game. This could get away from the Minnesota Wild, down 1 right now. They've got to get this game back, and I am surprised. I thought the Canes would kind of, win 4-2 or something. I figured the Devils wouldn't roll over, but I didn't expect a 4-4 hockey game, and this could go either way right now. The Canes were massive favorites. They're minus 170 right now. The Devils are plus 140. What's your pick for overtime?
I like the Canes to finish them off, Gabe. They were down 3-0, and they came back. They showed a lot of guts, unlike the Leafs tonight, who played gutless hockey and didn't even score a goal on home ice. But you got to hand it to the Devils. They came out and punched these guys in the face early, and then Carolina tied it up. Devils went up 4-3, then Carolina scored. So 4-4 going to overtime. What a game. Got to give the Devils a lot of credit, Gabe. They could have tapped out, but they didn't. You know what I mean? When Carolina came back, you could have lost all your steam, but they got the next goal. And then Carolina score on the power play, and next goal wins. Tied 4-4. Crazy offensive game, and Markstrom made some really big saves for the Devils down the stretch.
And speaking of really big saves, there was just a really big shot. Like, the Knicks just are not going away. They just hit a 3. OG Anunoby just hit a 3. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like everybody on the floor in the playoffs used to play for the Raptors, and they're all good.
Yes.
And the Raptors are not good right now. And I'm thinking, like, even in the Pacers game tonight, it was really throwing me off, too, because Matt Devlin is doing the series. And Matt Devlin is for people who aren't aware, Matt Devlin used to be the Charlotte guy, actually. He's been in the NBA a while. So he used to be the Charlotte guy, Charlotte Hornets. And he upgraded to the Toronto Raptors, and he got lucky when Swirsky left and stuff with the timing. So Devlin was there when Kawhi came. So Devlin got to do the title and everything. But Matt Devlin is an underrated play-by-play guy. Like, like TNT bust him out for the baseball. He gets criticized for his baseball stuff, but he used to do minor league baseball. So, his skills aren't quite as sharp as they used to be with baseball, but he can get by. But he's good for basketball, obviously, Devlin. And it's crazy because you got Pascal Siakam playing. So I'm so used to Devlin. Siakam for 3. I'm expecting from Brampton, right? So I'm expecting like the Devlin. And then I'm watching the game, and it's like Gary Trent for 3, and I'm confused. I'm like, are the Raptors playing? No, they're not on the Raptors. No, it's not a Raptor game.
I wish.
Right, but you have Gary Trent. hitting shots. So Gary Trent cost him the game, but Gary Trent also hit a bunch of shots to put him in a game. Gary Trent's balling. OG just hit a big three right now. Siakam is balling. You got Norman Powell, Kawhi Leonard. Dear God, like we could form an all Raptor like former team, and it'd be good. Fred VanVleet's playing, although hit or miss, playing well with the Houston Rockets. So the Pistons need to inbound the ball here. There's 5 seconds left in the basketball game. They got a 1-point lead, and as we've seen in basketball, NBA or college, it's not easy. You got to inbound the ball. You got to not turn it over. You got to not do something stupid. They were able to inbound the ball. Cunningham's going to be going to the free throw line. So the stress is real right now. I've got the Carolina Hurricanes to win the series in 5 games. It's on the line right now. Lay it on the line. Carolina Hurricanes, -170 right now. The Devils, +140. Andrew McKinnis steps up. And then McKinnis, who do you think wins in overtime? Are the Devils going to extend this, or the Canes going to end it?
I got a tough feeling if the Canes couldn't do it earlier, how are they going to do it now? I got that feeling in my stomach. But at the end of the day, though, we always say the underdogs have to close it out. The underdogs you got to lead like they had. You got to win that game. So kind of the more I've been thinking about it, the more I'm like, you know what? The Hurricanes got this, because if you're an underdog and you take the early lead and you choke it away like this, for some reason, I just think the Hurricanes are going to say, hey, you almost had us, but not so fast. So
it's like basketball, McKinnis.
Yeah.
The team that always blows the lead late and the game goes to overtime, the home favorite always wins after, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those, man, we were about to win and now we lost by 9, right? That's the way it works.
It's so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Gart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers can be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The Twisted Tuesday continues. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency, the Pistol Players, the Hustlers, people, the bus, and everybody else in between. We've got a series right now in the association. The Detroit Pistons hang on and managed to win the basketball game. It wasn't easy for them, but they found a way. You got to tip your cap to them for winning a big game like this on the road tonight. 106-103 final score. Our Pistons plus 2.5. Bet cashes in the series. I was pretty concerned about it considering how they blew the home games. Listen, they've let him off the hook a lot. This is one of these deals. We talked about it last week with Bovey, and these NBA series are drawn out so long. It's crazy. We were talking about it on Wednesday. We're still going with it. But the Pistons, for the most part, if we add up the quarters, like they've won a lot of quarters in this series, right? Like the Knicks pulled out the wins earlier, and it was like, God damn. The game the other day that the Pistons were crying about with the foul and stuff like that, you know, give the Knicks credit. You figure the Knicks are still going to finish this thing off, but similar to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they are similar. The Knicks haven't won in the same type of years, 50 years, 50 plus, 55 years, whatever. And, you know, they get so enthusiastic after a couple of wins, and then they panic after a couple of losses. So it'll be a long couple of days for Knick fans, and the New York media will have something to bitch about. And these guys bitch about, like, they bitch about the movie Wizard of Oz if they could. Like, you know, I mean, they like, it's like anything. Like, they'll complain about anything. So now they have something to complain about. And Toronto media, very similar. Toronto media types like Cam Stewart that told me and Andrew McInnes that Austin Matthews is a great two-way player before. Now he wants to trade him. Now you're like, oh, he fights back. He doesn't. He's not just a goal scorer. Now you're like, he's useless. Him and Marner are chokers. Trade them. You're still up 3-2 in the series, bro.
I get it, Gabe. I'll admit to everything in a court of law. You and McInnes got me in handcuffs.
You are just another Leaf fan in a bar in Mississauga. You have no sanity.
No. Here's the deal. Ottawa outplayed them, and you know what? Full marks for you to bet on Ottawa and all the people that had Ottawa at a price. But
it was just last night, though, Cam. You were telling us on the show how they were going to finish it off tonight.
Yeah, but I got a pick wrong. They didn't win the game.
I'm not calling you out for getting the pick wrong, but I'm calling you out for your total disbelief. So you believed in them last night, 24 hours ago, but now you don't believe them anymore?
I still think they're going to win the series. I just don't think it has to be so damn dramatical. Like, why can't you finish a job? Like, why can't you just win? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have all these players on your team. Gabe, the issue that I have, and Austin Matthews has been better two-way, but he doesn't show up in big games. And this has been going on for years. Everybody knows it. You and McInnes talked about it. They don't score goals. They got shut out on at home, not one goal. And Ottawa scores. Like, that's the whole thing. Now you're giving these guys life. They look great. Like, that's the whole thing. Right. It's a big problem. And it happens all the time. I thought they needed, like, if they were a different team tonight, they would have gone in there, took care of business, and then you wait for the next damn series. Now you gotta like, you could lose this series. I still think they're gonna win in 6, but horrible performance tonight. Very lackluster.
And let's not forget, 3 straight games went to overtime. So I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to bring any negativity, but 3 straight games went to overtime. So, you know, it could be a lot worse, actually.
It could be.
And you know, I had a lot of buddies of mine that are Leaf fans saying, "Were you kidding me? We outplayed them. We outshot them. We out this." And I said, I don't care. Go on your phone, open up your sports app, and tell me how many goals they won by or lost by in 3 games in a row. And they were 1-goal games. So I don't care if you outshoot them 45-5. They were 1-goal games. This could very well be 2-2, guys, because guess what? They played 3 games that went to overtime, and the Leafs won 2 of them. They should be happy they're up 3-2. This is fun. They get 2 more shots at winning because guess what, guys? I truly believe on the inside, it could be worse. And I'm not saying they haven't played well, but at the end of the day, there's been a lot of 1-goal games. Since the first game, they've scored 7 regulation goals. It could be worse. 7 regulation goals isn't going to cut it for a team that averages nearly 4 goals a game in the regular season. So if I'm the Leafs, I get 2 more cracks at this. I'm thinking, wow, we went to overtime 3 times. We won 2 of them. We've scored 7 goals since game 1. Maybe they should have saved some of those goals when they scored 6 in game 1 for the rest of the series, because that's a problem right now. So they got 2 more cracks at it. They'll be fine. I do agree with what people are saying that maybe there's actually less pressure on the road, which is kind of sad to say. Elliot Friedman said there's more pressure on Mars than there is here. I mean, look, going on the road, I think there's no worries. It was a library at the arena, and I'm not trying to be a hater, but I think it's better for them to be the enemy than to be the home team.
A lot of overreacting going on here with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're down by 2. And we'll say they're doing better than a bunch of our Canadians are, which will hit on the other side.
is so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers can be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, so we're in overtime right now. The Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. Like I tweeted hours ago, and I was right. It's just one of those weird nights tonight. So probably the Devils are going to end up winning. So it's a weird night, but it's already a weird game as it is with the comeback 4-4. Now we're in overtime. So we'll keep our eye on this. We just had a wild ending at Madison Square Garden. The Pistons extend the series. So the Pistons send this series back to Detroit, and they extend the series to 6. The Clippers and Nuggets are underway. The Kings and Oilers are underway and haven't scored yet. And let's jump into this one right now. McKinnis, the theme of this series actually is exactly this. You know, it's weird. Like we talked before. We've been talking hockey all year, obviously, but there was a lot of times in the regular season. Remember near the end, it was like, yeah, the over 1.5s would hit in the first period, but the games wouldn't. It would just stop after. And I'd be like, wow, I can't believe I won that over 1.5. There was a 2-1 final. Oh, like, you know what I mean? It was like, and it happened a lot. And now it's the opposite. These games, now I know they're the Minnesota and Vegas, but look, I'm talking specifically Edmonton and LA this series. It always starts off kind of slow, and you're like, wow, is this the game? Or actually they're going to play defense, and it's going to turn into a normal playoff game? And then the totals go down to like 4.5. And then you're kicking yourself for not, betting it because it's 8.5 an hour later. You're like, son of a bitch. They just scored 4 goals in 2 minutes or whatever. Here we go again. Here we go again in this game. And I know it's like, it's a massive, pivotal, not elimination game, but this is the fork in the road game tonight. 5.5 right now. I'm just waiting, man. If it dips to 4.5, I'm jumping in here. Oh, God, the Canes nearly just scored, but they didn't. What do you think about the total?
I'd love to know what the numbers are right now for if you took the in-game under after a first period over hit and the in-game over after a first period over didn't hit. How you'd be buying a new car.
You're right. The reversals are happening under in the first period and over in the game.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. Look
and
at
now
yesterday.
we talked about the empty netters too. Like these guys aren't leaving guys in. In the old days, you'd bring out the goons when it was 2 goals and try to smash somebody's face. Now it's like, yeah, let's just leave the goalie out there. We'll get 2 or 3 empty netters. We talked about it, Gabe, with Kurtz last night. That's the new NHL. So no total safe on the under.
But in this series here, in this game though, like I said, this is now you got to figure it's going to tighten up at some point, right? It's not like they like. I mean, the goaltending, I don't count. I'm not expecting Pickard to stand on his head tonight, but so far so good for them. But what do you think about the in-game total here? For me, 5.5 is a little high. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe this is the 3-2 game, but if it goes to 4.5, I'm jumping on the over.
Look, I'm on Los Angeles in this game, so I will lean towards the under. I think that's how they win this game. That's their path to victory. I think more than years past, they've proven they can win high-scoring ways. They scored, I believe, 12 goals in the first 2 games at home. 6-6 in the first 2 games at home in this series. But to me, this game tonight back in LA, I think this is the, hey, guys, we're going to play our style of hockey we prefer, and this is going to be a 2-1 hockey game, whether you like it or not. And unless the Oilers goalie gets lit up, I think this game is an under, and that benefits the Los Angeles Kings. So I'm on the Kings minus 125. My favorite series bet over at Wager Talk was LA Kings to win this series. So I'm a big Kings fan tonight. I'm going against the Oilers here.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hiller might be the next Doc Rivers of the NHL, McKinnis. They don't win this, right? Pressure's on the LA Kings not to blow this. Actually, they've lost 3 years in a row to this team. They had a 2-1 series lead 2 years ago. They had a chance to go up 3-1. I think they lost in overtime. Like, it's like deja vu all over again for the LA Kings. But I think they put the fire out tonight. I think the Kings put the fire out. So the Vegas Golden Knights are up 2-1 right now after the first period of play. What's your pick here, McKinnis? What do you got for us in-game? In-game total right now, 7.5, minus 185 to the under. Over 7.5, plus 150. Vegas are plus 350 on the money line right now, only down a goal. Vegas are minus 500. Minnesota plus 1.5 is plus 115. What's your pick, McKinnis, in this one?
Give me Vegas over 4.5 goals, minus 115. When Vegas wins, they're going to pour it on. That's kind of the feeling I get with the remainder of this series. The games that Vegas wins, you're going to really be able to tell that they won that game. I don't think that – I truly believe it. It sounds funny to say it, guys, because I think a lot of times you would think that the veteran team and the favorite in a series is the one that you expect to win the close games. If this game goes to overtime tonight, I'd bet on the Wild. But I look right now at the live odds. If you want me to jump in game, I'll take over 4.5 goals for Vegas. They got 2 early on. I don't see any reason why they can't pot a few more in the remainder of the game.
We got a 4-4 game right now with 12 minutes left in overtime. For the most part, the Canes are pressing. And here they go. Oh, my God. Oh.
Markstrom's standing on his head.
The Canes have come really close to scoring a couple of times here. They just had the puck in the slot. The puck bounced over the dude's stick. He didn't get a clean shot off. I don't know, like they're firing pucks at the net here. And Markstrom's been pretty shaky in this series, to be honest. Let's be real. Like, that, to me, this is one of the things, too, the reason why I was like, there's just too many random goals with this dude here. But he has made saves here, but you feel like it's coming. It feels like it's inevitable. Here they are in the slot again. Like, they're like literally all over them right now. Hopefully they can finish this off. We know how this goes. One team's all over one team, and then the other team scores. All right, so you're caught up to date there.
Remember when I said to you about the Metropolitan Division, like I think it was 2 weeks ago, and you're like, McGinnis, I don't care about the division. Don't give me the division stuff. And I think, look at right now at the Capitals, how they're playing, as much as I hate to say it, and you look at the Hurricanes, everybody's talking about the Panthers, Lightning, Leafs. I'm telling you, nobody is talking about the Hurricanes, and nobody is going to give credit. Yesterday, somebody asked me who I think the best value is right now, Stanley Cup. And if you want to see that I wasn't biased, I told them 10-1 Washington Capitals. That's the best value you're going to get right now. And when Vegas were down 2-1, you could have got a good value on them as well, and you still can get good value on Vegas. I think people are sleeping on the Metropolitan Division. Logan Stankoven has more playoff goals than Martin Necas and Mikko Rantanen. So you know what? This Hurricanes team looks like they're doing all right.
I agree. I thought the Canes were one of the teams to beat as well coming into this thing. The thing with the Canes is they fly under the radar. They don't play in a hockey market. And the Panthers have won the Cup. Tampa have won the Cup. Right? It's been a while since Carolina's won. So they're better than people realize, than the general public realizes. I think the odds makers are aware of them, but we've got like roving live future numbers right now for the Stanley Cup. And in fact, the Carolina Hurricanes are the favorites to win the Stanley Cup right now, plus 425. The Florida Panthers are the second choice at plus 450. The Dallas Stars are the third choice at plus 650. The Toronto Maple Leafs are now 7-1. The Edmonton Oilers are plus 950. The Vegas Golden Knights are 10-1. The Washington Capitals are now 11-1. The Avs 11-1. The Jets 12-1. Kings 15. Wild 28. Blues 28. We were talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs and their postseason failures. They have a problem in these elimination games, and this is pretty incredible, but the Maple Leafs are now 0 for 30 in their last 30 power play opportunities in clinching games. That's unbelievable. Their last 30 power play opportunities in clinching games, they're 0 for 30, which is like almost just like impossible to actually to pull off. The Maple Leafs, a potential series clincher since 2018, are now 1-12. They've been outscored 48-23. They're 1 for 31 on the power play, and they've been shut out twice. This is why when people want to fire coaches and stuff, I think in this regime, these stats here, I think they've gone through 3 coaches of this stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's like eventually it's, you can get a new coach. It's the players.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're rolling along here on the Twisted Tuesday. We're going to get into the NFL draft in a couple of minutes with Rick Saratella. And we don't live in the past. We're going to take a look at the 2026 NFL draft odds. Yes, there's draft odds that are up right now. But we're going on and on here in overtime. And here's Markstrom. I don't know, like, why is he allowed to sharpen his skate here? Why, like, what's going on here? Did they take a timeout?
I love you, Morency. No, your goalie, you're playing with a dog. That's the best. Yeah, you're right. It's like
that's not that's not Carolina's problem, right? Like you don't, you know, I mean, we're not stopping the game because your skates are dull, bro. I'm assuming they called a timeout, right? Because like I said, they're all, you know, they're pretty exhausted. Like you can see, these guys are like, you know, they've been going hard here. We're in overtime. It's 4-4. We played 12 minutes, but yeah, like they just sharpened his skates, old school with the stone. My grandfather was not the he didn't throw money around very much. So I remember I was like, Grandpa, I gotta get my skates sharpened. Let's go get them sharpened. He'd be like, I'll show you how I used to do it. And he'd take me to the basement with a freaking stone.
I love the stone.
I'm a kid with a stone. I'm like, you know what I mean? I remember I was like, no, I want to go and see the Sparks. Let's go and get the machine. He's like, no, here's a stone. That's why, Cam, I didn't play golf more. I played golf when I was a kid with my grandfather. I used to play with a 1-iron, bro. Like with the old school clubs. Like, I'm playing with a 1-iron. You know how hard that is?
Jack Nicklaus can't hit a 1-iron. No,
I'm
even
playing
said
with a
that.
1-iron.
Like,
he goes to me.
Jack,
He goes, I remember he told me, he goes, if you can play with a 1-iron or a 2-iron, you can play with anything. Here you go, kid.
I'll
And I'm
tell you
like trying
something
to play
about
golf
Haggerty.
with like hard. Like, yeah.
Dude, he was smart.
It's a 1-iron,
He's
bro.
absolutely correct.
Yeah, I know.
He's correct. Jack
Nobody
Nicklaus
believed in
played
all that
50,
stuff.
20
When the
years.
hockey sticks, too. He was like, all these stupid curves. He goes, when I played, I could top shelf it, backhand, no problem. He goes, these idiots with their curves. He wanted the stick straight. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love your grandfather
straight
more and
stick.
more.
Yeah, like-
That's my dad's cheap too. I said the same thing. I was
stone,
Dad, I need my
though.
skate sharpened. He goes, you're not even a great skater. Don't worry about it, Cam. Get the stone out. I'm like, really, John? Like, this is what come on, we got big games. No,
Nothing
you're right,
worse than
Scottish
dull
guys.
skates, too, on a
Oh,
bad
I
rink, too. When
know.
you step out, you
What do
start like sliding around.
What about a goaltender too? Like you need to be pushing off, to get you. There's so many things you need to do with the blade.
Yeah. But also, no, we'll get back to the picks. But also, I don't know about you guys, but like, I didn't like them like right before the game because they were too sharp, and then you sort of it's too you dig into the ice too much as a goalie. You know what I mean? You gotta. I sort of, you get them sharpened, and then after you sort of screw with them around a little bit on the ice. You sort of like you have little tricks, right? You do like the little
Gabe?
with your feet
The
there
old
into
plastic.
the ice and stuff, like
The guy taught me a trick. He used to play in like the German league. The old plastic, the harder the better. So when you get them sharpened, you'd rub it a couple times on then. And then you're right, because they're too sharp. You make a turn and you're flying into the boards. You need them just to be pristine.
These
so you can
NHL
make
guys,
those
though, they do get them sharpened during the game. Like sometimes, like playoffs is a little different because it's flying so fast. But if a guy really doesn't like his skate, you'll see. Like he'll take them off. They'll be like, hurry the F up. They'll run in and, you know what I mean, do it as fast as possible. Right. And sometimes, I don't know, skates just get dull quickly. Like clearly Markstrom had a problem there, but I think they used the timeout for it. But I'm just stating, and I wouldn't care, but I'm on the Canes. So I'm like, what are we stopping the game for here? Because you're skating.
Are we going to see double overtime here, guys?
Come on.
After that leave
I'm like, that's your problem. Sharpen your skates, bro, during the period. Like, all right, I want to tell you. Like, you know what I mean? But anyways, we'll move on from this. How about
double
this?
overtime,
the Canes
guys.
have.
It's been
God, there's still
close.
7.5 left.
We've been close twice so far this year, and both times there were goals in, I think, 3 minutes, 50 seconds, and
right
like
at the end,
4.5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's. I find that with overtime in the playoffs, and think about some of the ones we've seen off the top of our heads, guys. It's either been like 2 minutes in or 2 minutes left. It's almost like the 10, 15 minutes, like dull time. It's like you either score right when you have your energy or right when you have no energy before the period ends. Have you guys noticed that? It's almost like with 10 minutes to go.
It's always, you're right. No, but it's always like that with these goals. You're right. It's right away with the fast ice. You know what I mean? The first 3 minutes, you got fast ice. The players are all charged up. Somebody breaks free. There's like, the puck bounce, loose break. Or like you said, you're like, oh, wow, it's going to go to double overtime. And then with like a minute left, they score. It's like, I guess not. Yeah. So, all right, moving on here. The Montreal Canadiens find themselves in an elimination game tomorrow. This is one of these series, guys, like you said, you could argue the Senators deserve better against the Leafs. Hockey is not a fair sport. The Canadiens, you can make a legitimate argument they deserve better. For my money, guys, I think Logan Thompson has been the best goalie in the playoffs. Like, the Canadiens have, had a lot of legit. They haven't as many shots, but that's kind of deceptive. You know what I mean, McKinnon? You're watching every shift of this stuff. Logan Thompson's been unbelievable, bro. Like, if it's not if he doesn't play as well as he does, the Canadiens have a lot more goals than they do.
Huge too, Gabe. Not like regular goalies. Like, he has acrobatic, crazy stuff, and consistently. Like he's so like on top of it. He's already. I agree.
And you know
with
what?
100%.
You know what I find's messing with him too, Cam? I think it's messing with the players. The fact that his trapper, his glove hand, is his right hand. Like Caulfield from his side,
point.
like his office, right, is on the left side. When Line, he's injured now, but when he was shooting the one-timers, right, the trapper, the glove hand was on the right side. And for some reason, these guys keep going glove high. But guess what? Instinctually, if you're a player and you're used to going mid blocker, high blocker, and you're like, oh my God, that's not his blocker. Well, I keep forgetting that's not his blocker. That's his glove hand. That can be difficult for teams. That certainly can.
No, that is a good point, McKinnis. But I think teams too. I think people, the players. I mean, the puck. Everything is happening so fast, right? Put it this way: I think teams that don't like overanalyze where to shoot are the ones that score more. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When
right,
teams
dude.
when teams you start to pinpoint, I want to do this and that. And that other thing too, that play, I'm sick of it in the NHL with these power plays. It's becoming like the 3-point shot in basketball. Everyone knows you're going to do it, bro. You know what I mean? Like the Caulfield. I think he scored once from there, but you don't think Thompson knows? Yeah, he's going to shoot the puck from here. Like they just do it. Like I see it all the time with Pedersen in Vancouver. He misses the net like most of the time when he does it, but the goalie is already there, like anticipating it. They got to shake things up a little bit, these teams on the power play. What you ran in December and February doesn't work in April. Right? You got to like surprise teams with a different look. It's like football. Write a different play up.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number one, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number two, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Day, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, you get rid of Booker, because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. This Canes-Devils game is getting good right now. This is pretty crazy at overtime. They just put up the graphic. The Canes have 16 scoring chances to 1 in overtime. It's up to, they just had 50 shots on goal up on the graphic. They just moved it to 48, but they're moving in on 50 right now. They just hit the top of the goalpost / crossbar. It was like just below the crossbar on like a 2-on-1 one-timer. They tried to get like highlight reel hero goal. Boom. but he teed it up and it beat Markstrom, but ding. And here now the Devils are sort of in the zone here, cycling around. But this has been quite the overtime period here. And I tell you, man, we've seen this before, like so many times, where one team just dominates in overtime and it goes to like double, triple overtime, and the other team scores on a trickler from center ice or something like that. So the Devils have a puncher's chance here still. Like, man, no, the Canes have come close a lot. It's 48-32 shots on goal. All right, we got a couple minutes from McKinnis here. So tomorrow, Canadians and the Capitals. Like I said, to me, this series, it sort of reminds me of the Pistons and the Knicks a lot, where the Knicks are more veteran. Let's call them the Capitals. The Pistons have Cade Cunningham, future superstar, really good young team in the playoffs. They're in every game, but they sort of find a way to lose. Right? It's like, man, we were right in it. And the last 2 minutes, we fell apart and we lost. They found a way to hang on tonight, McKinnon. It's like on the road in a similar situation. And the Canadians are in tomorrow. The Canadians are right there, bro. It's the last couple of minutes of the period, the last minute of the game. It was a 2-2 game the other night. Hated how early St. Louis pulled the goalie, right? Especially because the Canadians were getting pressure 5-on-5. There was no need to pull the goalie that early. But I can't live in the past. What's your pick for tomorrow? Canadians are plus 160 underdogs right now.
My pick's the under, Gabe, and I'm going to cheer like a fan, and I'm going to have a blood pressure monitor hooked up to me. My nobody likes watching games with me. I'm a nervous wreck. My dog has to leave the house because he sees how stressed I am. He gets stressed. Nobody wants to be around me.
You're stressing your dog out, McKinnis? Come on, bro. You got problems.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not even joking. Like, I swear to God, like, he doesn't like
he can tell you're nervous and freaked out.
I can't be around McKinnis tonight. Get me out of here.
It's honestly kind of sad. But yeah, I'm on the under in this game. Most of the time, elimination games, I look towards the over, but I think in this game, they've all been 1-goal games. Take away the empty net goals. All 3 Washington victories have been 1-goal games. Montreal came out hard in game 3, as you expected at the Bell Center. But I think we're going to see another tight game. And I think the reason being is that Montreal knows that's the only way they're going to beat Washington. You try and play first to 5, it's not going to work out. They found their scoring touch in game 3. You love to see it. But the fact of the matter is, this is inexperience versus experience. And it's great. It's a good feeling to be 1 goal away every single time, Gabe. But, Gooley leaves his assignment. Carrier's injured, so you got one guy playing on the left D, then the next shift he's playing right D. That hurts them. Leaves the assignment. Boom, Mangiapane scores. Dobish, I think Dobish had a great game. Yeah, Dobish lifts his glove up and then covers it, lifts it up again, and then Strome comes in and scores. These little small mistakes are what's hurting them, I think. But, the problem really is here, they don't have a second line. Kirby Dach injured back-to-back full seasons. Newhook is not a second-line center. Jake Evans isn't a second-line center. And this is the thing I'll be clear about. It's no offense to these guys. These guys are great third and fourth liners. They're just not second liners. And Demidov has to play 5-on-5 with Evans and Newhook. Look at how good this kid looked on the power play, getting to sling it around with Hudson and Suzuki. Then he goes back to playing with Evans and Newhook. The team doesn't have a second line. You don't have a second line in the NHL playoffs, you're screwed because they worry about Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky.
Well, that's just they got Demidov now, right? At least for next year, right? I mean, that's sort of the building process. All right, so listen, we only got 2 minutes here, McKinnis. So under McKinnis, I see it even 6 right now, minus 110. Panthers and Lightning. Lightning are up against it right now, trailing 3-1 on home ice. They're minus 115, and the Winnipeg Jets are minus 170 home favorites. And, we were talking about the Leafs failures. How about Connor Hellebuck, guys? 1-8 in his last 9 playoff games. His save percentage is like .861. He's been pulled in 3 straight road games. But the good news is this isn't on the road. And the throat goat is going to be in attendance, the crazy girl in Winnipeg. So, let's I think the Jets win tomorrow. Yeah, they're wild in
I think
Winnipeg.
the Jets win too. I pretty much hate betting regulation just because I think it's so hard to take regulation with overtimes these days. You guys know I take the team totals, but minus 105 Winnipeg regulation, I've bet it because I do think if they win tomorrow, they're going to win in regulation. If they go to overtime, you know what? I hope St. Louis wins it. Give me Winnipeg. Give me Hellebuck at home. I don't know where they're sleeping on the road, but he's not having good sleep. He sucks on the road. Give me Hellebuck at home.
is so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers can be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The Twisted Tuesday continues. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. Let's do this thing. The post-draft analysis continues, and we're going to break it down with Rick Saratella. But as I've often stated, you're only allowed to live in the past if you're a history professor or a hair metal band, right? So we're already going to take a look to the future, back to the future style. NFL Draft Bible. Rick Saratella steps up and in. Rick, it's always a pleasure, my man. How you doing?
Hey, back at it again. That's what we do, man. The countdown is on. 51 weeks until the 2026 NFL Draft, baby.
That's right. We're already looking ahead to 2026 right now, and the sports books are as well. They've posted odds. Arch Manning is the favorite to be the number 1 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft at plus 200. Drew Aller, Penn State quarterback, plus 250. Garrett Nussmeier, plus 500. LSU quarterback. Cade Klubnik, 12-1. Clemson Tiger quarterback. Lenora Sellers, 12-1. South Carolina Gamecock quarterback. It was a very thin quarterback class this year, Rick, in the NFL Draft. It was often discussed, and the NFL teams put their money where their mouths were in showing how they didn't like this quarterback class. But what do you think about next year's quarterback class? Do any of these names excite you, Rick Saratella?
They do indeed, Gabriel Morency. And let's start with year of the Arch Manning. I mean, this guy looked good in a short exposure that we saw him. He's a little bit of a dual threat, can pick up yards on the ground, has a strong arm. And, listen, there's a lot of talk. Will he stay in school? Will he declare? I think the New Orleans Saints have a very good chance of having that number 1 overall pick. And wouldn't that, you talk about history repeating itself, wouldn't that be fascinating? Arch Manning to the Saints. I mean, that would be hard to bypass.
Yeah, the Pope just recently passed, and, with all due respect, and may he rest in peace, but the Mannings in Louisiana really are kind of papal. Like, they're that big, bro. Like you said, I couldn't even imagine if Arch Manning was the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. But he's got to do it first, right? And we'll get to Shedeur Sanders a little bit later on. But as far as Manning is concerned, it looks like he has it, right? So he's got the pedigree. He's been a star quarterback. He's played at high levels in the past. And hell, people think the Texas Longhorns are going to win the national championship this year. There's a lot of hype and expectation. So it's not the exact same as the Sanders situation. But with all that being stated, NFL teams, whatever, they're not going to care if he's a Manning if he can't throw the football, right? I guess that's what we're going to find out about this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could state a case that he's the one that pushed Quinn Ewers into the NFL draft, because word is if he wanted to play college football next season, he was going to have to go into the transfer portal. Now, they say he turned down NIL deals between $4 to $8 million to return back to college. So Quinn Ewers cost himself a little bit of pocket change there. Will Arch Manning learn from that? We shall see. Lenora Sellers out of South Carolina was a name when I polled scouts down at the Senior Bowl that came up quite often. And then, Clemson has got two tremendous defensive linemen in TJ Parker, the edge rusher, Peter Woods, the defensive tackle. I think you got to throw those guys into the mix, as well as Garrett Newsomeyer from LSU, son of Doug Newsomeyer, NFL bloodlines. LSU dipped into that transfer portal big time for wide receivers. I can see LSU really ascending big time this year.
And we know that LSU quarterbacks put up big numbers. No one could dispute this. I like Nussmeier. We'll see. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too excited. Like I'm just fascinated by looking at this now, and I'm just sort of fast forwarding to next year, and we're going to remember having this conversation. Like Drew Aller's a good example. He's one of the most heavily criticized quarterbacks in college football, but that'll mean nothing to NFL scouts. How do you feel about Drew Aller? As like I said, let's just say Arch Manning doesn't light it up, or Arch Manning decides, or his family decides you should play another year of college football and then go to the NFL. Is Drew Aller number one draft pick material from a mental standpoint, leadership standpoint? Is he the guy?
Depends on who you ask, Gabe. And I got to confess, he made it into my mock draft. I have him number 10 to the Raiders in my 2026 mock draft. But
he feels like a Raider. Good call. It feels like a guy.
But I got to say, though, the one thing is this ain't LaMonica over here. Like the reason why Penn State failed to win the big games, Gabe, is because Drew Aller is just shook to throw the ball downfield. And I
can't make big plays.
Yeah, I really thought he held the Penn State offense back. Now, you talk about 1-2 punch, Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen. They returned two running backs that kind of remind you of what Ohio State had going on last year. So that should alleviate some of the pressure. But, I mean, Drew Aller's got to show that he can throw the ball downfield. Come on, son.
Cade Klubnik is another quarterback that he's not going to put big numbers up, so he's not going to get the hype because he plays for the Clemson Tigers. And Clemson, their NFL talent challenged Rick, right? I mean, growing up, or at least, not growing up, but let's say, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, they would produce NFL wide receivers, running backs, right? And I know they still have a few, but it's not the same anymore. He can't recruit at the same level as he was. So where I'm going with this is I like Cade Klubnik. I think the kid's a competitor, and I know that a lot of smart football people like him as well. So he's one of these guys. Yeah, he's not going to, be on ESPN highlights because they're not going to score 55 points a week. But this kid's a good quarterback, Rick. 12-1 to be the number one pick.
Yeah, big-time pedigree, 5-star recruit, if I recollect correctly. And also
he's a high school champion. I remember because we talked about it last year when he played Quinn Ewers. He beat Quinn Ewers in the state championship game.
Very big time high school quarterback who was kind of late to the dance party. He took a little while to develop, but I'll tell you what, he did put up some big time numbers last year, which was uncharacteristic for Clemson quarterbacks. I mean, Cade Klubnik all of a sudden was slinging it around the parking lot all over the field. And listen, he's more of that traditional pocket passer. You call him endangered species. They're on the brink of extinction, it feels like. But he can hang in the pocket. He can make all the throws. He can work the short to intermediate parts of the field. And there's always going to be teams that value that.
I see Miller Moss. Remember Miller Moss was hyped up last year coming into the year with USC. He's transferred to Louisville this year. So he's at 40-1. So just for the record, Arch Manning plus 200, plus 250 at Penn State. Garrett Nussmeier plus 500 LSU. Cade Klubnik's 12-1. Sellers is 12-1. And the first non-quarterback, Rick, to be the number one pick in the NFL draft is Caleb Downs, which, as a Michigan Wolverine fan, and I kind of knew, like, because he wasn't in this year's NFL draft, he was coming back, but just seeing it, I'm like, God damn, he's back, huh? I'm like, this guy's a good football player, but his position, no one takes safety's number one, right? But hell of a football player.
Yeah, it'd be a miracle for him to go one overall, but I'll tell you what, he splashed onto the scene as a true freshman at Alabama, went over to Ohio State, immediately made his presence felt. Now, he wasn't draft eligible this year, but he will be next year, along with, Ohio State just keeps churning out these wide receivers. Get ready for Carnell Tate now. We saw Emeka Ibuka go in the first round this year. Carnell Tate's the next one. They just keep reloading at Ohio State. Chris Olave, Garrett.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
It's so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers can be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Twisted Tuesday. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The Pittsburgh players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Rick Saratella, AllAccessFootball.com, the NFL Draft Bible in the house with us. All right, Rick, we opened up. We're taking a look at the 2026 draft. Let's just get the Sanders stuff out of the way. You and I talked about him a lot coming into this draft, and the process that he went through about not participating at the Shrine Bowl, not participating at the Combine. I think in hindsight, now I think he should have went before the 5th round, but I think it's pretty clear in hindsight he overplayed his hand, right? I mean, if he shows up to these events and actually works out and tries to prove himself, his stock rises. But I think that's the best way of putting it, Rick. He had his hand wasn't as good as he thought it was.
This was just a dark storm, an avalanche that started as a snowball, Gabe. And it was just one after the other, just, bypassing the Senior Bowl where all the decision makers go. The East-West Shrine is held simultaneously. No, I'm going to go to Dallas. If you want to see me, you come to Dallas. Oh, by the way, I'm not practicing. Even though the NFL memo said if you attend one of these events, you have to participate. He thought he was above the law. And then he opts out of the combine, opts out of the Big 12 Pro Day, has the Colorado Showcase well after everybody else conducts their pro days. And then you hear the horror stories of inside the interview room where he was testy if,
combative, defensive.
Right. Getting on the chalkboard.
Rick, I read a quote, the story, Albert Breer, who I thought he did a great job recapping a lot of the stories. One coach said he'd been in the NFL for like 15 years and never got into an argument with a prospect before, but got into an argument with Sanders.
Well, there was a lot of testiness. There was a lot of almost, from what I understand, talking down to the teams, especially if you weren't in the top 10. He almost had an attitude as if, like, why am I wasting my time speaking to you? Like, are you joking me? You don't have a shot at this guy. Are you kidding me? I'm legendary. And, that act kind of wears thin on people, especially, I even after day 2, after, we entered day 3, like, can we quit it with the legendary crap? You're not legendary, bro. You're sitting there on day 3. Okay. So listen, I think it's an uphill climb. Do I think Shedeur Sanders can go on and beat all these bozos in Cleveland? Sure, he's going to have to work at it, though. He's not going to have a lot of reps to do it. He's going to have to make the most of his opportunities. And going out and having a concert and jumping in the pool, like, I think that's what bothers teams the most is, like, here we are, rookie minicamp, and I got the whole entourage, the reality. I mean, I heard Shiloh live streamed all 3 days. And if you look at the reaction of Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski when the pick is, I mean, they went to the Browns war room when every pick was made. They're in there giddy as hell, jumping around like little kids. And there was rumors that the owner stepped in and forced them to take Shedeur Sanders. And if you look at their reaction when that pick was read, I mean, it looked like they're attending a funeral. So I think it's an interesting storyline to watch.
And Cleveland are going to Cleveland. This is what they're going to do. In the sense, I don't have a problem with Sanders in the 5th round. There's stories, as you stated, too. That was it was the look of death. It wasn't even the afternoon strip club applause, Rick. This was like, oh God, like, you know what I mean? It was like you said, it was nothing. It was like the little kind of like, oh God, all right. Now you're gonna sort of see Stefanski. God, what do I got to deal with all these quarterbacks?
Yeah,
but
and I'll say this about Cleveland. One last thing, like, as a talent evaluator, I spend my whole life trying to come across talents like Travis Hunter, and you trade out of that spot.
Yeah, you have him, and then you don't take him, right?
I mean, I just can't fathom, like, you could have paired this guy with Myles Garrett. I mean, these are foundational, cornerstone, blue chip players that like, that's the whole point of the draft. And I don't care how much draft equity you pick up. Like, you're never going to draft a guy as good as Travis Hunter. All those picks, not one of those players will ever be as good as Travis Hunter will be. And I just think that Cleveland has no sense of direction. That Ivy League degree there with Andrew Berry, man, you could take that. That's for the pigeons.
And what about taking Dylan Gabriel in the 4th round?
Like, I mean, come on, dude.
Like, where did you have him projected? Like, I liked him as a college quarterback, but what, 7th round? Like,
yeah, it was a day 3 flyer, right? And by the way, if you ever seen the Dylan Gabriel interview, he hates the cold weather. By the way, I mean, like, this kid's a Cali, Hawaiian, warm weather quarterback. Oh, let's bring him up to Cleveland. I mean, it's a reason why they're called the mistake by the lake, and some things just don't change, my friend.
And Cleveland, you need arm strength. He's got none of it. He's undersized. Like, and I don't want to be critical, but there was a picture of Dylan Gabriel at the combine, if you recall, and he looked like a soccer player next to the football players. Like, you know what I mean? He was just sort of like, it's like, come on, dude. Like, this isn't like, if you're the Browns, and they take 2 running backs, Rick. Like, this isn't a fantasy football draft, man.
Cleveland mystifies me every year, it seems like. And I mean,
quarterbacks and 2 running backs, Rick. That's fantasy football.
Yeah, it's almost like they actually outsmart themselves with all those Harvard Ivy League degrees in the building.
Yeah.
They're outthinking it, man. They're overthinking it.
Mason Graham is a baller, though, right? I mean, Mason Graham is a baller, but at some point you can only kick the can down the road. You can only kick the can down the road so many times. Rick Saratella in the house with us. Rick, and I said this too because people. Everyone's criticizing everybody, and I'm not a hater. I want to see these players succeed and see how they do in the National Football League. But Ashton Genty, I'm going to say, he got drafted too high. I think the Raiders drafted out of need. Is Genty going to be a superstar? I'm not so sure he is, Rick. This will be my bold hot take. I'm not saying he's a bust, but is he next level? I mean, you ran the ball against San Jose State and Hawaii, bro. You know what I mean? The Mountain West is terrible. And, okay, he had a nice game against the Ducks in week 1. He got shut down in the playoff game, stone cold, against Penn State. I like him, but he's not Saquon Barkley. He's not like Derrick Henry here. Let's not pretend. I think he's a little bit getting overvalued a little bit.
I tend to agree with you, Gabe. I was never that high as the rest of the mainstream media was on Ashton Genty, and that Penn State game bothered me because 7.3 yards per carry average all season.
Is so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers could be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We got Rick Saratella on. I just talk over the music. We just keep going on and on. We can talk for hours. And we only got a couple of minutes left already here. So, Rick, a couple of teams. And listen, winners and losers in the draft, we'll find out. Talk to me in 3 years, right? You know what I mean? We don't know. Everybody wants to judge stuff right now. But a couple of, teams that I thought did very well. I liked what Arizona did. I mean, I'm a big Will Johnson fan, and I thought he was a steal, the fact that he fell as far as he did. I just sort of like the way that they addressed their needs with Arizona. I thought they got some good football players. I like what Seattle did. as well, just sort of toughening up the Atlanta Falcons as well. You and I talked about Pierce. Pierce does end up going in the first round when it's all said and done. But they really stockpiled their defensive line. You have to, like with the draft, Rick, we talk like, all right, you got all these players, and in reality, very few of them have an immediate impact. But you look at the Atlanta Falcons, and you got guys you could just drop on the defensive line right away, and they're going to have an impact for the Falcons.
I liked what the Falcons did. I thought they were one of the winners. I went on a show. They criticized me for picking them as a winner because they felt like they're giving up the draft equity. I don't know. James Pierce Jr. to me is a bona fide potential borderline top 10 talent.
Dude, you got Jalen Walker, James Pierce, Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. Their defense just got way better. They're all starters.
And their fourth round pick, Billy Bowman Jr., was my number 2 safety on the big board. I compare him to Eddie Jackson, Bob Sanders-esque type of safety. And then Jack Nelson out of Wisconsin, always a well-coached offensive lineman there. So, yeah, Jalen Walker, you can use him as a linebacker. You can use him as a situational pass rusher. And then they double down with James Pierce Jr. I liked it. And, you talk about Arizona, Jonathan Gannon, a defensive-minded coach. Well, hey, we'll just pick our first 5 picks will be defense. How about that? Walter Nolan and Jordan Birch in the trenches. In the second level, they get Cody Simon, a proven linebacker. Will Johnson in the third level is going to be competing for a starting spot. And then Denzel Burke out of Ohio State is someone who was talked about as a first-round pick, struggled, got beat with the long ball little times there with the Buckeyes. But big-time pedigree, he's been talked about as a big-time prospect. Arizona is going to be a tough out, man. This is a very competitive team.
Buffalo Bills general manager Brandon Beane was being criticized by local Buffalo radio, and he called in and he called them clowns, basically. And he goes, you guys wanted to take Josh Rosen over over Josh Allen. He's keeping receipts, evidently, Beane. And listen, I've been critical of Beane. I don't mind his draft picks. I don't like trading picks to Kansas City. That's my only complaint with this man. All right, so that's my only beef with you, sir. But I love the Bills draft, so I don't know what the hell these guys. They're like, oh, you should have got a wide receiver. The Bills, and I'm with Beane, because people online, I said to people during the draft, I said, the Bills score 30 points a year every year, Rick. You know what I mean? You and I could play wide receiver. Don't worry about it. Like, it's fine. They put points up on the board. I don't understand the tight end pick, unless they're planning on throwing Knox under the bus. But talk to me about Hairston, because he wasn't talked about a lot, but a lot of people are saying that this guy was actually one of the best cornerbacks on the board. The Bills loved him. Hairston, you get Sanders out of South Carolina, Jackson out of Arkansas, the huge man in a 6'7", like 345-pounder, and Walker out of Kentucky. What do you think of the Bills draft?
Well, quickly here, I was a little bit taken aback and surprised by the interview, because as a local radio host, I mean, I can't imagine anything more gratifying than the GM coming on your show and admitting that you irked him. Like,
You're right. It really validates you. You're right. It happened to me when I was the host doing the Expos. I had the president call in. I want to correct something you said, Gabriel. And I was like, wow, the president's listening.
I mean, anyway, I digress, but Maxwell Hairston is a little bit light, but he's a great cover man. He could play man. He could play zone. You talk about elite level speed, can stick with anybody. He fills a need too. So I thought it was good value at 30th overall. TJ Sanders is a plug and play defensive tackle that you can move up and down the defensive line, but he probably fits best as a 3-tech because he can bring some interior pass rush. So him lining up next to Ed Oliver, you kind of increase the penetration rate from the inside of that defensive line. Landon Jackson, you mentioned, and both Deon Walker from Kentucky, large men, hard to move. I mean, these are people movers. They absorb double teams. Landon Jackson didn't have the year he wanted at Arkansas, but man, this guy's got length for days. He can set the edge as a run stuffer, and he has some pass rush ability. Deone Walker, I mean, you look at this guy, he looks soft. He looks like he's playing patty cake. He plays upright. But, I mean, there's just no way to stop him except for allocating 2 bodies. He's a 2-down run stuffer defensive lineman.
We got to get out of here, Rick.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Jackson Hall, it's all good, baby.
I'm getting fired up as Bills Mafia. Let's go, baby. Let's roll.
so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Gart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined from March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers could be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Always awesome with Rick Saratella talking football. Already taking a look at the 2026 NFL Draft. Number 1 pick odds are up. We'll get into it a little bit in a couple of minutes. I said earlier tonight before the show started, I tweeted that it feels like a special night tonight in the sports world. That there's going to be a lot of like weird endings and a lot of big time drama and stuff. And I don't think they're going to be doing a 30 for 30 documentary about this date 25 years from now. But with that being stated, we had a dramatic finish at Madison Square Garden. We've got a big-time game going on. We have 2 LA teams in action right now at the same time, the Clippers and the Nuggets, and a big-time game. Edmonton and LA has been a special series, just feels like the old days. It's been a great, great competitive series. Suddenly it's 1-1 right now. The Devils and the Canes went to double overtime, and finally, on the 51st shot on goal, they finally break through, and the Carolina Hurricanes advance, and we finally cash one of our first tickets with the exact series score prices with Carolina to beat the Devils in 5. Vegas and Minnesota was wild earlier, pardon the pun. There were a lot of early goals. Completely slowed down. It's 2-1 still right now. Going into the third period of play, the Wild are plus 425, and the Vegas Golden Knights are minus 650. We jumped in on the over 1.5 in the second period, knowing we talked about this earlier, guys. This Oilers-Kings series, all these games, they start off slow, and then next thing you know, the goals just sort of start to add up. It's 5.5 right now in game. For the record, the Dodgers are rolling. The Marlins. It's 7-1 in the top of the 5th inning right now. San Diego leads San Francisco 5-4. Mariners up on the Halos 5-1. And Twins and Guardians tied at 1. Let's bring in Mo Khan right now, who's no doubt watching all this insanity tonight, Mo. Let's start off actually at, they call it the world's most famous arena. I don't know if it really is, but I guess it is. If you just call yourself something and you repeat it over, it's like, yeah, I guess so. You know what I mean? Like, all right, there's other, the Crypt is pretty, you know what I mean? And I don't know, whatever. We're talking about a lot of arenas, but Madison Square Garden. But all kidding aside, the Pistons, man, I'd like to add up the quarters. I wish we had a crack research team here right now. I don't know, Pat Foster's in the house with us. He's a DJ in the NBA. Maybe he can, he knows. But How many quarters they played now? So what, they played 5 games, so 5 times 4, what, 20?
20.
They played 20 quarters in the Pistons-Knicks series. They haven't gone to overtime, right? So 20 quarters. Here's the Oilers coming in. Ooh, big save. The Oilers might score actually here right now. Oh, the net got knocked off. The Kings are lucky. The Oilers look like they're about to score, and I don't know if they knocked the net off on purpose. I'll see the replay, but I was going to say, Mo, the Pistons, they've won the majority of the quarters, right? Like they could have won, they could have won the games, the first game in New York. They could have won the game the other day with the controversial foul. Like the Pistons are playing with the Knicks for real. And you could argue, they deserve better than be down 3-2, but they showed a lot tonight. I almost feel like the Canadians are in the same spot tomorrow. Young team, you're in the playoffs for the first time in a little while. You're down. No one really expects you to win the series, but can you compete? The Pistons showed tonight, Mo, they can compete. That was pretty impressive of them to go on the road and hang on in a close win like they got tonight.
Yeah, especially in the final 5 minutes of that game, guys. When you think about how twitchy the Pistons got with their free throw shooting, possession in their hands, where there was almost chaos that broke through for the Knicks going the right direction for them. But you saw Kate Cunningham be really mature in that final 10 minutes of that ball game. And even strategically speaking, right? You heard Ian Eagle and Grant Hill mention the point that they couldn't get Brunson on the court for the final minute and change because it was this continuous flow back and forth. And he only came out with, 32 seconds left in the ball game. So really, I think the rotation by the Knicks was not done really well overall in the final 8-9 minutes of that matchup. But again, guys, you're absolutely bang on. Game 1 could have been Detroit. Game 4 could have easily been Detroit. And now we go back to Detroit for Game 6. And I just think right now for the Knicks, how healthy are they going to be? Because physically speaking here, guys, they just look like they're just worn down right now against a much agile, younger, more spring in their step, fox and box type of play from the Detroit Pistons.
It's too bad that this Denver Nugget Clippers series has been on-off and against the LA Kings and the Oilers. Because the Kings and the Oilers are just too good to look away from. It's a great series. But the Clippers and Nuggets has been a really good series as well. This is a pivotal game tonight. I picked the Clippers, guys, before the series started, but I took the Denver Nuggets tonight, right? This is a pivotal game for the Denver Nuggets, and I didn't think they were getting enough respect. I didn't think the Clippers should be 2-point road favorites in this spot this evening. Nuggets are up 72-59. I'll ask you, Mo, in your opinion, do you think if the Nuggets win tonight that they're going to win the series?
No, I don't think so. I think the Clippers.
You still think the Clippers are going to win, huh?
Coming in, I thought the Clippers were hot. I think they were stable. I think they had less question marks, right? I know you see the Nuggets playing off the emotion of no Mike Malone and trying to bleep the world and how they've been viewed upon the last 10, 12 days of their regular season into the playoffs here.
Yeah, for the record, too, let me just quickly pull a Barry Horowitz and say when they fired him, I said, watch, this will be good for them. They didn't like him anyways. But anyways, go on.
No, they didn't. He was a hard ass with the Nuggets. But
no, it's true, Cam. Like they were like, good, he's gone. Like finally, you know what I mean? And Jokic, you saw right away, Jokic had the blackboard and the chalkboard in a timeout. Adelman, like Jokic is telling people, you go there, you go there, and give me the ball. You know what I mean? Like, he's drawing plays up, and Adelman's like, all right, right? And he gave him a little shot in the arm. Like, he's more of a cheerleader coach. Malone was like, come on, Gordon Aaron, you're not playing D, right? Like,
it's a heart attack.
Adelman's more like, let's go, right? He's more of that cheerleader guy. And the thing is, guys, they're just good in the clutch. Jokic is good at it. Dude, Kawhi's going off. I get it with the Clippers, and I picked the Clippers, actually. I thought the Clippers could win the West, but they needed to win tonight, Mo, in my opinion, guys.
Yeah.
Like, there's no guarantee they're going to win Game 6, and I don't think they're going to win Game 7. Like, I said this when they let them off the hook in Game 1 in Denver. My exact quote was, guys, each game on the road is going to get harder to win for you. Like, you got to steal these games back now, bro. Not wait till a Game 7.
No, you're right. And I just think that for the Clippers and how they were functioning on the weekend and that crazy ending that they had, I mean, they play better when they're down. And, and you imagine they'll have their say in this matchup. And Harden, who has been remarkably bought into this whole Ty-Lue system here, I think will have a big influence in this whole game going towards the second half of this matchup. But keep this in mind, guys, right? You saw today that the Sacramento Kings extended or now gave Doug Christie or the new contract extension, right? They probably realized that Adelman will probably be the Nuggets coach because they were going to go hard for him because of what his history was from the family lineage of his dad being the Kings coach about 22 years ago when he led them to the best, greatest run that they had for 2-3 years.
Yeah, I'll give credit to C-Web and company.
Yeah.
But I think more than Rick Adelman. I think of the Blazers with Adelman. So the Lakers and the T-Wolves tomorrow. Lakers are also facing elimination right now, and Luka's lack of defense is starting to be exposed right now, and he's always been this. It is who he is. He's going to put up a bunch of points, but he's not going to play defense. He's going to complain to the referees on every damn play, even in a tight playoff game. And I get it with the smiling and the laughing, and you could say, oh, the kid loves to play basketball and it's fun and stuff, but at times I think, it's just he's not serious enough. I don't trust the Lakers tomorrow as 5.5-point favorites. Minnesota's got a killer edge to this team. What do you think about tomorrow, Mo? Are the Lakers going to extend the series?
I think they will. I think T-Wolves win in 6, but right now, you saw on Sunday, right? You pretty much used the reserves of LeBron and Luka for the final 24 minutes of that game. And
no, they did. They were the first team ever to play 5 guys only in the second half of the game.
And it's an indictment to what J.J. Redick probably thinks about his roster rotation, that he doesn't have many options to work with against a much agile T-Wolves team.
Gabe Vincent.
Is so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers could be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. So we got a 1-1 hockey game in Los Angeles, 6:50 left in the second period. Edmonton are out shooting them 29-11. They outshot them 19-4 in the first period, but it's 1-1. That's hockey. 80-65 for the Nuggets. So the Nuggets have started to distance themselves a little bit in the second half here. They've outscored them 13-6. The Clippers are they're not even the Leafs, you know what I mean? But they kind of are they just don't win. You know what I mean? They just don't. Like the Clippers, you know what's crazy? The Clippers have never been to the conference finals before. Like, think about that. Never like now, well, they never won a championship or they made it to the finals. They've never made it to the conference finals before, right? They've won playoff series. They've never been out of the second round before in their history. I don't know about Buffalo, actually. Our boy Tommy's the Buffalo historian here. The old school Buffalo days. Well, it's fitting, Cam, but of course they came from Buffalo, right? They've never won anything before. It's like they come from Buffalo. You got the Buffalo basketball team.
Poor Buffalo. Can't they catch a break? Sick and tired of it. It's ridiculous.
I don't recall a ton of Buffalo Brave championships.
I think they did a hell of a lot better than the Clippers, though. I think there was one. I think they did something. Didn't they win one year? Buffalo Braves. 1952.
Let's see.
Tommy.
Champions. Let's see.
Tonawanda Tommy.
No. They didn't win. No.
Why? Is Tommy making it up now? 1952.
Someone at the big tree in Buffalo lied to him after a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
I see here, championships, none. Conference titles, none. Division titles, none.
Wow. That sucks.
Jack Ramsey was their coach. Says it's a big coach. Cotton Fitzsimmons. Playoff appearances, 3. 1974, 1975, 1976. Oh, the Royals. Okay, so we're being told the Royals.
There you go.
All white NBA days don't count, bro. Like we're not going too far.
Black 1951 Royals.
No, good call by Buffalo. You got to sit on. It's like Buffalo won the AFL championship with Jack Kemp. As Tom would know exactly. We got to claim the championships, right? Might have happened a long time ago, but it happened. But it wasn't the Buffalo Braves / Clipper organization. That's the point. Right, the Buffalo Braves existed from 1970 to 1978. Then they became the San Diego Clippers from 1978 to 1984. And then they became the LA Clippers from 1984 to present. I didn't realize. I actually thought the Clippers were there longer because I used to go to Clipper games in 1989. I didn't realize they were that new. And they had Charles Smith and Ron Harper, Gary Grant. They were back. They weren't good. Then they had the Candyman after and stuff like that. But like I said, the Clippers have never been good. They had a little Blake Griffin, Chris Paul run there. But for the most part, they've never been good. All right, so the NFL draft, I just talked with Rick Saratella about it, Mo. The Sanders stuff, like I said, he clearly overplayed his hand. I talked about the stories last night. It's one thing with quarterbacks, don't know things. And, remember Cam Newton when he was with Gruden and Gruden in the QB class, basically. Gruden used to grill QBs during the draft. And he said, how did you read this? And how'd you read that? And Cam Newton sort of stared at him and said, he goes, my options are left to right. He goes, that's what we did. At Auburn. Basically said, we snapped the ball and I went left to right. And I looked for the open guy. And Gruden was a little freaked out by the lack of sophistication of the offense. But Mo, a lot of the college offenses are pretty simple. And Shedeur Sanders, in hindsight, whatever, dude, you didn't do anything at the Senior Bowl. You didn't do anything at the Shrine Bowl. You blew teams off. As Rick Saratella said, he had attitude with any coach that, wasn't in, the top 5 at the Combine and stuff like that when he spoke to people. He overplayed his hand. He thought, oh, you know what, I'm great. And this is on Dion, I think, Mo, for not advising him better here, because Dion should know better how the NFL works. They don't care who you are. You know what I mean? Good for you. You got your own watch or whatever. And in fact, we don't even like that stuff, that you have that already. So, Dion should have advised him better in hindsight to actually, you know what? When you're at the Shrine Bowl, actually participate. You know what I mean? You're not a slam dunk first-round pick. And then there was the story about how one coach asked him, showed him film, and he goes, what about this interception here that you threw? What did you do wrong? And Sanders threw a tantrum. I didn't do anything wrong. It was the line. It was the receivers, blah, blah. And the coach said it was like talking to a child. He said, this guy, instead of just saying, yeah, this is, I should have read the blitz here. I didn't pick up the, the screen. I didn't pick up the safety, whatever, like a normal person would do. He got defensive and combative Another coach said that in 15 years, he never got into an argument with a prospect before, and he got into an argument with Shedeur, and he walked out of the room. It's just there's one story after another, Mo. He sounds like he did this to himself, bro.
Well, also, remember, he didn't have an agent, someone that was going to quarterback this whole process.
That's why I blame his father.
Right. And that's a big fault, that no agent does not give you better latitude or better painting of the canvas of where you stand in the NFL eyes.
No, unless you're Cooper Flagg. Like, Cooper Flagg can say, I don't have an agent. Like, before the draft.
Right.
It's like, all right, you're going first overall. Like, but Shedeur Sanders wasn't in that position.
No, but in a year where the quarterback class was rather weak, right, guys? This wasn't 2024 with Caleb and all those guys. It's not next year, 2 years down the road. That's going to be much better and deeper in talent. For teams who are not quarterback need to pass on him, look at the Raiders. They passed on him 9 times. Teams didn't see him on the board. And even there was word that those who didn't think he'd be available in the second round didn't actually prepare for him and were kind of turned off by the whole antics of Shedeur Sanders. And I think the biggest red flag that came out of it, guys, the initial process when he did not go to the Shrine Bowl game, showed up, shook hands, waved to the crowd, and that was it. And you just saw right there that this guy was going to have a lot of red flags, and you saw what happened. He goes to the Cleveland Browns. We'll see what he does now as a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, he's they've got 5 quarterbacks there right now. And they took Dylan Gabriel as well. Very chaotic. What a shock with the Cleveland Browns. I'll tell you what, though, like with the quarterbacks for next year, we'll take a look at the odds. It's interesting how they change. They change a lot.
Is so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum, and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyzed the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers could be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. Quickest 120 minutes in sports talk and television. We can just go all night here, man, but we're up against it already. One thing I'll say, too, is Sanders. There really wasn't a lot of teams that wanted quarterbacks. You know, that's another thing, too, right? The teams decided that we like Geno Smith better than anybody in the draft, right? Seattle, they got Jalen Milroe, but we like Sam Darnold. Minnesota Vikings, we like J.J. McCarthy better than any of these guys. Right, Pittsburgh Steelers, they're pretty wild. The Steelers are one that surprised me a little bit. in that the Steelers are deciding that we're going to decide, we're going to hope that Aaron Rodgers like takes some mushrooms and feels good about playing for Pittsburgh Steelers. Like maybe one day he has some sort of like enlightenment on ketamine or something. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe I should. God's going to tell him. Aaron. God told me, Pat. On Pat's show. God, I was in Egypt and God told me I should play for Pittsburgh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I don't know what they're waiting for, but I think it's a mistake. But one thing, I brought this up with Saratella, the futures for the number 1 pick of the draft next year, guys. And last year at this time, you know who the pick was, guys, to be the number 1 pick of the draft?
Quinn Ewers.
No, he was the second pick. He was right there. You know who the first guy is? Carson Beck.
Right, yes,
so all you need to know about future projections. Carson Beck is now 30-1 to be the first pick in this year's draft. Carson Beck. Quinn Ewers is another story. He could have made like $8 million reportedly to stay in college. He goes to the pros, but whatever. Quinn Ewers' family has money, so it's not a money thing. But I'm just saying right now, guys, let's take note of this. Right now, Arch Manning is the favorite at plus 200 to be the number 1 pick next year. Drew Aller plus 250. Nussmeier at LSU is 5-1. Cade Klubnik from Clemson's 12-1 to be the number 1 pick. Lenoris Sellers, explosive quarterback with South Carolina, 12-1. The Carson Beck 30-1. The first non-quarterback is Caleb Downs, safety, Ohio State / Alabama transfer. So I'll ask you quickly, Mo, and then we'll get to some picks for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Out of these quarterbacks, who do you believe in? Because like I said, the market changes, bro. People always assume this stuff, and it's completely different, right? I mean, Quinn Ewers went in the 7th round. Carson Beck stayed in college. So Arch Manning, Drew Aller, Nussmeier, Klubnik, Sellers, who you saying that will be the coveted guy by the NFL next year?
Arch will be the apple of the eyes for many. Remember, he's got 3 years left to play in college if he chooses to do so.
He might not even be in the draft next year. That's the whole thing. There's no guarantee.
No guarantee. He's got 3 years left. Drew Aller's the guy to watch out for, guys, for Penn State, because he has that wild card ability, that wow factor that you look at. Those are the 2 quarterbacks that I would pay close attention to. Everyone else,
he's got all the skill, Mo, but he's not that good. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm with Gabe.
You know what I mean, Cam? He's one of those dudes. Like, you look the part, but in the games, you don't get it done. You know.
Great call. We watch a lot. You know, Big Ten football. I watch this guy and go, like, he makes great plays, but he also does like a lot of dumb stuff too. Like, I'm not there with him.
And that's why
I've been slow to come around on Nussmeier, but I think Nussmeier's the real deal. He's big. He throws it around. He's going to throw for like 8,000 yards next year. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. He's going to throw for a bunch. Klubnik, I like, guys, and I know people all Clemson this. Mo, you're a Clemson hater, so we go through this every year, you and me.
We always do, every August.
He's got issues with Clemson.
I told you they make the playoffs last year, though. But anyways, with Cade Klubnik. The thing is, Klubnik, Cam, he's not going to get a chance to put up, like, really show off in Clemson's offense. They don't have the same talent that they used to in the old days, skill position players. But NFL people like Klubnik, Mo. Like, he's a good quarterback, Klubnik.
He's getting better, too.
Yeah, and look, Aller and Klubnik are going to have a lot of eyeballs watching what they do, right? Can they take that next step here, especially when you look at the Big Ten? Ohio State, Michigan transitioning, so could Penn State be the team to watch out for? ACC, same thing, right? Clemson is the team that could be the wild card in this whole process. So I think those 2 quarterbacks could really elevate their draft profile going towards next spring.
All right, Mo, do the Canadians extend the series tomorrow? And was it you to put the Tom Wilson hockey cards in the urinals at the Bell Center?
That was not me. I had the Caps in 6, but right now the Habs look deflated. They just got pounded. It was a hit on site policy by the Capitals on Sunday, and they just leaned on the Canadians. I just don't know if they have enough energy in their strength system to beat the Capitals tomorrow night.
All right, Cam. So there's 13 minutes left. The Wild are right in it. We called it. Both you and I thought like this would be a close game. So they're in it. They got a puncher's chance at plus 190 on the money line. The Oilers and Kings are tied at 2. Mo, what's your pick? Oilers or Kings tonight in the 3rd period?
I think Kings pulled out. Look, they're one of the best home teams in the NHL, and they got Kemper's been playing very well so far in the series.
Big drama. Hey, we don't lie when we touch the quickest 120 minutes. We'll see you on the Wicked Wednesday. Other than that, you're on your own later.